Here we go.
Here we go. Welcome. Hooniverse Podcast, episode 376. My name is Ross Ballett, and I'm here with Patrick Costello. Thank you for joining. It's been a while. Yeah.
Very happy to be here.
The last time that you and I spoke was, I had to look this up, was in 2021. You joined us on Off the Road Again on our old podcast. We talked about Truck Night in America and all the shenanigans that went on with that. And there's been some developments since then on your side of things, and we have a lot to talk about. I know people watching are probably looking at the screen and saying, why does Jeff Glucker not look like Jeff Glucker? And that's because, as it turns out, I'm not Jeff Glucker. But we're here. This is the Hooniverse Podcast. And yeah, let's jump into it. We got exciting things to cover today. So Patrick is TV producer extraordinaire and has a knack for things in the extreme side of vehicular stuff that some people wouldn't even consider to jump into in any way, shape, or form. So we're here. We're talking about Ice Road Truckers, which is back, and I want to hear stories. You know, I remember watching Ice Road Truckers, God, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now we get some inside baseball. So tell us what's doing.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Very happy to be here. And yeah, I'm back with a new show, and that show is the reboot of Ice Road Truckers, the storied brand. These days, I get a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, my dad loved that show," but it's back. It's better than ever. It's airing the 1st of October on History Channel. It's going to run for 8 weeks, and you know, there's a lot to like about it. I think the most interesting part of it is my anecdotal evidence, along with like literally everybody I know, is it has 100% brand recognition. Like, even if people haven't seen it, they like know about it. They know it's a show, and they're super curious. They're like, so like trucks drive on ice. I mean, there's a fantastic Breaking Bad Ice Road Trucker meme that's out there. That's, you know, it just tells you how deep into the subconscious of the American viewer that the brand is. So they decided to reboot it after what was about 8 years.
It's been that long? Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? We're all old as hell. It's been 8 years, and you know what I wanted to bring to it after such a big hiatus is to bring back the same core idea and action that people know and love, and what drew them to the show. I mean, how can you make a TV show about people like driving on ice and utilize all the advancements in camera technology and producing chops that have come around since the show's been on the air? You know, it's like the audience is more sophisticated now, so we needed to up our game from a storytelling point of view. The cameras are like way better, so we brought in a great system of cameras. We worked in the Sony ecosystem, and we're able to update the visual language of the show and really present something that looks incredible, and use a bunch of course we had like Ice Road Air Force, so we had drones everywhere all the time, and
to be expected.
Chops from doing a lot of car stuff, had a very car-y career, doing a lot of car stuff to really do some aggressive vehicle follow that I think people who like car content, you know, could get behind. So it's a fantastic show visually, and we elevated the storytelling, but at its core, it's the same, you know, Ice Road Trucker. I mean, guys driving, and Lisa Kelly, who's back, driving over, you know, epic roads in the far north.
Places where there aren't always roads. Most,
yeah, that's correct.
You know,
I mean, there are these, you know, the needs. The show went away, but the needs didn't. These are communities that tend to be underserved. They are very far from civilization, and there are no roads to them. The only roads are in the winter when they build them out of ice. And that's pretty incredible. And that the fact that that's still a way of living in the North is pretty crazy at this day and age.
So, yep. And just to make a quip, there's some time in the future where Ice Road Truckers becomes a boating show. If things progress,
the season does get shorter and shorter.
There's still quite a lot of ice. I mean, I was up there, it was -40.
Yeah,
Stretches. So
send me a picture.
There is a
Mildly terrifying looking.
Yeah, I mean that's just classic ice crossing. Not our longest, not our shortest. That's a sort of normal ice road.
Yep. And for the listeners, we are looking at what looks like something out of like a middle of winter horror movie with some cracks going on beneath the surface of a lake, and it's really cold. It seems to be very cold. So, okay, I just want to... two things. First of all, you mentioned the Ice Road Truckers brand, and I want to go back into that in a second.
Yeah.
First, I just want to say you talked very briefly before about how much advancement there has been on the side of the actual quality of video and the footage that you're getting and
it's incredible.
What you can see as somebody watching on a TV, now today that's 4K versus, when it started, it was most people are probably still watching on, like 720. But you did send me a picture of somebody still hanging out the back of an SUV, and it looks like a Suburban. And even though your tech has improved, it seems the ways of capturing still are very much that Top Gear-esque, like, well, we're going to plop somebody and strap them into the back of a car and follow, and we'll get our video that way.
Yeah, the cameras have come a long way, but the act of shooting for these type of shows is still very much the same. If you want to get great vehicle follow content, you got to hang out the back of the car. I guess we could have strapped a remote control Ronin to the back, but that wouldn't have been quite the same. It wouldn't have been the same look and feel and have that same dynamic operated quality to the visuals. And there is no substitute for this, and that is my close friend Rupert Smith, who's also the director with me on the American version of Top Gear. And he was with
so he knows the drill. Yeah, he
knows the drill.
Around hang out of the back of an SUV block.
That's his happy space, man. He's harnessed into the back of that thing. It was -35 that day. I remember it well. And it's like
he's
covered in snow, because when you're driving, you get these little vortices that just swirl it right back on you. But hey, that's what it took. It took just like months of that to really bring the show to life.
Does the rear window of the Suburban not pop open?
I don't know. I don't know about that one, and there might have been some condition that allowed it not to open, or he might have just preferred it because he's on a hi-hat, which is the hi-hat is secured to the floor, and then on top of the hi-hat is the camera, and if you have the door there, you're really constraining your ability to move and
say this politely, and Rupert, I hope you don't hate me for this, but he does not look like a small fellow, and he is like jammed.
He's not a tiny man. So
there's gear and there's camera, and he's like partially out the back. So I hope that green toe strap that is wrapped around the hitch is actually strapping him in some way, and not just the camera.
Oh yeah, safety first on these things. So
safety third, yes.
Yeah, safety third. We were all locked down on that, but it was good. That's what it takes to make the show and a lot more, So
So how long were you up there? And for the listeners, and to go back what we were saying before, the Ice Road Truckers brand. This is probably since 2000 when reality TV really started to blossom. The brand of a television show has become something different, because these aren't just perfectly scripted, delivered to the camera lines by a character actor. These are like real people doing real things, or at least in some cases that's what we're actually watching. Others, obviously, some shows have their scripts that they like to follow, but a lot of the brand is the people, and the characters in the show also tend to be the cars. So yeah, I'm all over the place here, but how long were you actually up there, and where was it?
Our cars are definitely characters, and what's interesting about the Eisner Trucker brand is the first version of the show aired in 2000, which is like incredible, 25 years ago. And it was actually based on a book that had come out in the 70s, and then finally somebody made it into a show. And 25 years is a long time for the brand to be around. I remember when
any show to run 25 years, it's hard for most people to name a car that's been around for 25 years, let alone a show.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so this was when it hadn't been around 25 years because I guess we took an 8-year break in there. I mean, it's just an incredible brand, and the fact that these drivers are still up there doing it, and the way of life hasn't changed. The camera technology changed. The way of life hasn't changed.
Where's up there? You say there, just for people listening. Where is there? Up there?
Oh, we were shooting all across northern Canada. So we were in northern Saskatchewan, right on the Nunavut border up there, right on the border of the Northwest Territories. We were on in northern Manitoba, and we were up along the Hudson Bay in northern Ontario.
So it's kind of the city.
Multi-provincial show.
Yep.
Yeah, yep, all across there.
There ain't much up there except trees
really
and water.
I mean, there's really not. There's First Nations communities, and then there's mines. And one of our deliveries was actually to a ghost town where they're doing. There's a very small population that's still there, but it used to be a big uranium mine that closed in the 80s, and is just like one of those scenarios where people set their shit down and then left. And it's like still looks like that from 82.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I had a saying in the show, it's like the road will deliver. It's like these drivers would take off on these multi-day runs, like anywhere from like 4 to 7 days. And, we had a rough idea of what the story would be because we know what the cargo is and we know the challenges associated with that. But like, dude, shit happens. And it's incredible. Like, these roads, they're made of ice. They freeze and thaw. They heave. And it's like it is absolutely brutal on the vehicles, including the big rigs. So it always delivered incredible content, and it's super real for these drivers. I mean, and it's like the part that you can't. It's almost hard to tell in the show is the degree to which it just beats the shit out of them physically.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like imagine like a Baja race. It's just like they are,
and that's your job, and you're doing that for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's limits on the hours they can be behind the wheel, but a certain number of hours a day, and like you have to always quell that part of your conscience. Whereas like if shit goes wrong, I'm in trouble. Like there's real danger here. It's not it's not like somebody comes in with a helicopter or a medical crew and like you're good. It's like ship's going down.
Yeah, we had a couple dicey moments for sure.
Yeah,
You said you wanted to tell stories, and I don't want you to scoop yourself. But any good oopsies you can tell us?
Yeah, I mean, there were some good ones. I mean, one of our drivers. The load went sideways on top of a frozen creek, and it was very touch and go on if the truck was going sideways or potentially upside down into it. With it completely unclear how deep it is because it's frozen, right? So you're like, you don't really know what's there. And they make to drive across the tundra, they make these ice bridges. So they use sticks and snow, and then they wet it down, and then they freeze it and wet it down and freeze it. And the sticks actually, it has the load carrying abilities of like rebar reinforced concrete, but they just use sticks and ice, and they build it to cross these bogs and stuff. And what happens is, if that gets worn down, areas of it like can come apart, and then that happened to one of our trucks as it was crossing. The thing just went,
Yikes.
and it was, and the thing is, there's water on both sides, so it was dicey for sure.
Were you there for that physically?
I was not physically there. No, that was a phone call, which led into a series of phone calls So that was a day.
Did you get like the insight from anybody who was there shooting it over whether their instinct was like help, save, and rescue, or just like get the camera going? Like this is, I mean, it's their job, so they probably, my
team is always get the camera going first. Listen, if somebody's fucking dying in front of you, no. But it is like when something happens, it's like you button on, you get out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how it is. And of course, these trucks are all just covered in fixed cameras too. So you know that stuff's rolling. So should you need to assist, there's a whole bunch of other cameras that are still rolling on the stuff. But it was like, you ever see those movies when the car is like teetering on the cliff and you're like, don't move, and it's like, it was kind of one of those moments. Like that was the first instinct, is like, don't move, it's right. We don't know what's going to happen. And then, going through that raw footage was an adventure.
That's crazy. So the vehicles that the people actually driving on the show that are seen on camera, they're, your quote unquote standard ice road truck delivery, 18-wheelers and whatnot. But in order to chase these, when you're doing a lot of the reality shows that don't have a factor of adverse conditions, it's just like an Escalade with a red mounted on the windshield pointed in, or a minivan with the back popped open. But you guys had to actually outfit vehicles to both support the crew and live out of, and then also, not get slaughtered by the conditions. So it looks like you had expeditions with...
Yeah, it was a mix of Suburbans and expeditions. And, we start the build, we had to start the build weeks before. And, all the vehicles got, a light suspension lift, like nothing too significant. But something to just soak up the abuse a little bit, just also knowing that people are going to be shooting out of them. Studded tires, roof racks. We had to carry extra fuel.
How many spares did you carry, extra spare tires?
At least 2.
Oh, wow.
Per 2 full-size studded tires per. Everything was had Starlink on it. And then some updates to the system inside just to manage the cold. And then in addition to that, those are just the vehicle upgrades. In the cars, they're depending on the team that was in the car, they would situate it themselves, but some had like full rack systems, so they could keep their stuff organized. And then we also had to have a way to adjust so that if needed, they could sleep out of these things too. Right. They all had inverters installed. The crews traveled with microwaves so they could eat as well.
Not just have like protein bars and
Yeah, no, it wasn't just
cold burritos.
Yeah. So they were able to get some hot. Well, some chose to use the microwaves, not everybody. So it was. It was pretty. That space filled up fast. The roof racks filled up fast. It was pretty tight in there. But they got the job done. We may. I'm pushing to upgrade to sprinters next season, because who doesn't love a 4-wheel drive lifted sprinter? I mean, that would be a dream come true.
You put that on camera, and it'll get people to watch the show.
Oh my god, man! It's like. Maybe next year we'll get a BTS episode too, so everybody could see how this goes. That would be amazing too. But we'll see. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. First, people need to tune in a couple weeks' time to the show. But the build out was a thing. I mean, it was a couple of weeks to do the work on the vehicles times 5. There was just a bit of a assembly line. They would just run through it.
This is why Ford should build an Expedition Raptor. Like, that would be the perfect use case.
That would be incredible.
But here we are, and it looks like this one. In addition to light bar and Duratrax and the lift, it also had the potentially unfortunate modification of an animal strike, or is it a?
That was not an animal strike.
Was it another vehicle, or was it like a tree kind of deal?
You know what? I might just leave that one alone for now. That was a. It wasn't. It is a good snapshot of the conditions that these vehicles put up with. It wasn't the only damage to a vehicle, but it gives you a good idea of kind of what we looked like at the end. You know, bungee cords and
ratchet strap to keep the hood down so it's not flying open.
Yeah,
wind at speed.
I mean, it's definitely real. I mean, that's like a day in the life of shooting ice road truckers. So, it is good. It means everybody was going for it. You know, it means they were trying to really get aggressive at telling the story and getting the shots. So.
Yep.
Crazy. It was crazy. That's crazy. And for the YouTube viewers, I don't know what my computer has decided to do in terms of the screen sharing, so we're just rolling with it, and if you see my show notes, then you're getting some of the inside stuff. All right, so Ice Road Truckers, October 1st, and
October 1st, History Channel, runs for 8 weeks, and it's just a really incredible series. I mean, for people that are familiar with the old series, some of the updates we did with the visuals are, I mean, 9 years ago, the low light capabilities of your standard cameras sort of sucked. So they really worked to shoot most of the content for the show during daylight. I mean, there was some night stuff, but this season we were able to just shoot anytime because the low light capabilities of the cameras was just so good, and the stuff at night looks just incredible. So you're really getting a full 24/7 view of the job, because it's nighttime in northern Canada.
Of reality.
It's dark most of the time, right? So, and that was something that really wasn't always present in the previous version. So that's super exciting. And then, the drone work really shows that landscape in a more holistic way. I mean, the aerials are incredible. If people watch the trailers, you get a sense of that. It really gives you a sense of just the scope. I mean, when you just see this little ribbon of ice just disappearing in the distance, and it's just nothing but like tundra, or if you're on, like, we went across a lot of lakes, but one that was absolutely massive. It actually is one of the world's largest lake crossings, ice crossings.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it was incredible. So you would imagine all of those aerials are just give the show this scope that's incredible. And then we brought a camera that I actually used for the first time on Truck Night in America, and called the Insta360, and we had a lot of support from Insta360, the company. They were fantastic to work with, and we outfitted all the trucks with those, and we're able to get some dynamic, super exciting visuals that just you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. Just to create, I mean, just those three things alone, just really, when you watch the show, if you're familiar with the old version, you're like, oh shit, like this looks like incredible. I don't know what I'm going to get next in terms of visuals. But even if you're not, I mean, you're getting something that is really right there, and you're being delivered everything that we're capable of delivering using all the technology from 2025. So it's really the visuals are really pretty special. I mean, even if you're not into the storytelling, just pop it on and just put on Dark Side of the Moon and get into it.
Is it? What's more difficult, the visual storytelling or the audio side of things? Because I can imagine trying to get like the sound of the ice and then at the same time the complete silence when there's not a vehicle in motion. Is the video or the audio more of a headache?
More of a headache? I would say the audio is more, not a headache, but I would say like getting great audio is super challenging. I mean, the visuals, like we had all these amazing tools that I just mentioned, and it's like a lot of thought and time and hard work goes into those visuals, but it's a little bit more attainable, even though it requires a tremendous amount of hard work. Whereas the audio, I mean, if you're familiar with doing car stuff, like it's really hard to capture audio that evokes the sort of emotional quality of being there. You know, when you're standing on the ice and a heavy vehicle goes by and you have 3 feet of ice under your feet that is cracking and it's just like popping and making these noises, it's so hard to capture that sound, because the degree to which, is it a sound or is it a feeling?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, the feeling of the road moving a little bit, or like a truck goes by and you feel the reverberations through you, you know. You can't.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard to evoke that. So, you know, we do a lot of work in post-production to try to use the audio that we got and evoke for the viewer what it kind of feels and sounds like when you're there. I mean, it's like there's a difference between hearing like an incredible like flat plane V8, you know, on a show, and like sitting in the car and like just hearing that thing wind up. I mean, like they're both sounds, but like your experience is very different. So you're trying to express the sound, but then you're also trying to express the experience, because it really is crazy. And you're completely right. I mean, the show swings between engine noise and trailer noise and chains like biting into ice, and it's active and loud, so loud. But then you're swinging between that and like you're up there where, dude, if the truck's not going, it is silent. I mean, it is wind and silence. There's no hum of...
Kind of beautiful, isn't it?
What's that?
Kind of beautiful when it's that quiet,
It's
right?
stunning.
Yeah, I mean, so you're trying to express both of those. This is what it's like there, right? You know, with silence and peace, and then this is what it's like to try to coax these incredible vehicles like through that landscape that will bite you, you know.
Yep.
So it's a lot of fun to make the show.
And in the same way that the vehicles are part of the show, in the same capacity as the actual characters, the landscape and the world that the show lives in is important, and probably as much or more so than most, if not all, like reality shows or TV shows for that matter. You know, like something like Survivor, they've curated it so that it's this like almost fictionalized version of what you expect this remote island getaway to be. But when winter's out to get you, you can't really do anything about it. It has its motive.
Yeah, I mean, the landscape and the roads are very much a character in the show, and that is the story. You know, these roads, I mean, they will bite you, right? And really, these stories over the episodes are really about the driver battling the roads. Not necessarily nature so much as the roads itself. So every episode, we worked hard to tell the story in a way that creates a character out of the landscape and out of the roads. And there's one road in particular that I heard was absolutely brutal. And it just year over year, it just eats vehicles. And not all of our drivers, but several of them had to make runs up and down this road. And it did not disappoint. I mean, it's called the Ashwig Road. It pops up first in show 3, and it runs through show 6 for various drivers. And it was a full blown ass kicker. I mean, it was its own character, and it pushed these drivers, or pushed some of the drivers straight to the breaking point. So, you know, it
makes for good TV when people are at their limit. Yeah,
they're characters in the show, just like the trucks are characters in the show too, with names and personalities and differences from one to the next. You know, so you're really getting a sense of like this ensemble cast where some of the cast are humans, some are trucks, and some are the roads.
Yeah. Well, I'm very much looking forward to see it, and I thank you for sending me the preview link, which I have had absolutely no time to actually sit down and watch. But I know multiple parties outside of our little Hooniverse family that are excited to see this come back, and that's without them even knowing that there's a shared interest here in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, I told my crew when we first started, I'm like, we're secretly making a car show here. So, so I mean, that is how I approached it, with the most dynamic vehicle cinematography possible. So
that's how everything happens for a car person, though. Like, even if you're going on a driving vacation, you're like, how can I make the car part of this interesting?
Every show is a car show.
Yeah, exactly. So you said something before about 3 years, and I just want to go into your own personal shenanigans, because you have a little P car that was supposed to be a 3-month project, you said, and it's turned into a 3-year project, which is usually how project cars are.
I'm offering it up to make any viewers of this podcast feel better about their own projects, because it has been both a learning experience and a very emotional one as well. I got an '89 Porsche 951 944 Turbo. And, classic story. It was a great deal and a great car. I drove it. I was like, this thing.
It was a 944.
It was incredible. It was incredible to drive. I had a couple light modifications, which I liked. And then I sent it to, a shop that was highly recommended. Great guy, great shop. And, we're coming off the back of the pandemic, so there were some labor issues. But also, it was a bit more of a project than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think everybody's projects are many people's projects. So we're right at the end of it now, and it's 2025. That was was it 2021 or 2022? I don't know. I'll choose to forget the exact year. I had it for a weekend, which was really great, and I'm looking forward to getting it again. But it is, it's been a long road, on again, off again, kind of thing. So it's got, for viewers that are nerding out about this stuff, it's got some Lindsay Racing performance parts on it, Fab Speed exhaust, still has original turbo and injectors and most of the original air system. But some light modifications in there. Crankshaft breather tank. It has what does it got? It does have a chip on it, although the chip isn't doing a whole lot.
Probably did when chips were kind of a new thing, but
it's got a wastegate. A couple other.
So the only Porsche I've ever driven is a 944, and it was glorious.
I mean, it was so fun. It's going to be cranking out. I think it was like 247 at the crank stock,
and it weighs what, like
about 3,000 pounds.
Right?
Maybe a whiff under 3,000 pounds.
That's healthy. That's enough. That's healthy.
Well, I think right now it's going to be closer to 270. With some of the some of the boost modifications on it, it's going to be making probably 15 pounds of boost on it. So. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if I'll stick it on the dyno, but in theory, in that 270 ballpark,
it's like
probably
that's BRZ, GR86 weight with an extra like 100 horsepower to the crank.
Yeah,
doesn't suck. That
doesn't suck. It's gonna need some tires.
I have heard about 944s though. It's like kind of like a house project. However much you expect to spend, double it, and however long you expect it to take, like triple it. So
that's basically been my experience so far. I mean, I haven't paid the final bill yet on it, and I'm terrified of that situation. I'll tell you though, those headlights work perfect though. Doing some final engine work with those headlights.
That's what matters.
Work perfect. I'm putting in a few gauges on it too, a proper boost gauge and an oil fuel gauge on it too, just with that extra boost. So we know, and it would have been done, but that's what's going on right now because that was at the advice of the the mechanics to really keep tabs.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So you don't take all the money you just spend and flush it down the waste can.
blow it up.
Yeah. So the 944 is almost done. When we did Off the Road Again 4 years ago, you were working on an XJ, and supposedly it's still in the throes of shit show.
Yes, I'm still working on it.
You're gonna have like hash marks on years that go by for XJ lack of progress.
So, I mean, my career doesn't help because I'm away and I come back, and I'm away and come back. So the XJ, I drive around, I take it out to stretch its legs. I mean, the engine's got like 200,000 miles, and the engine fucking runs so well. It's incredible. It fires right up every time. Never, ever had an engine problem with it. And it winds up. I mean, the thing sounds great. I have some new axles sitting on a pallet. I'm going to put some Dana 44s out of a Rubicon.
Yeah, and just to clarify for people listening, it's a Cherokee XJ, not a Jag XJ.
Yeah, no, it's a 97 Jeep.
They'd probably be able to deduce that once we got the Dana 44s, but
it comes with Dana 30s. So the plan is to swap those long arm kit and put a cage inside, so I'll survive if it rolls over because that unibody just totally collapses.
They are smushy little things.
Smushy, very smushy.
Yeah.
So
what are you going to do for a long arm, like a Clayton type deal, or? You should do Clayton. They're in Connecticut, like right down the road from where you went to school.
No, I did look into Clayton. It wasn't Clayton. I forget the long arm kit that I had on my build sheet. It's been a while since I thought about it. And then there's a company out of San Diego. Is it Deaver leaf spring pack for the back?
Yeah, they make stuff for a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, so they make a leaf pack for the back that's going to put on there, but I'm putting frame stiffeners on it, and that, again, I haven't talked about this thing in years.
The next time you talk about it will be on the podcast.
The whole drive line, and then the long arm kit, and then the long arm kit has to go in at the same time as the cage because they need to tie together.
It's the right way to do it.
Yeah. So,
and it's a 4-liter, right? It's not a 2.5.
No, it's a 4-liter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I have never done anything to the engine, although maintain it religiously.
The best thing you can do to a 4-liter is nothing.
Nothing, and dude, it sounds and runs perfect. It's the only thing that sounds and runs perfect. The entire interior is ripped out and plastic wrapped. I mean, what happened was it's been almost all dynamated, but I didn't know that those cars suffer from, I think it's a condensation issue or something in the passenger side floor under the carpet had like rusted out, which is a thing that can happen to those.
It's like an AC drain kind of deal, or
I don't know what it is. I think it might be a condensation issue with some heat coming up in that area.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had to have that area cut out, and then some new sheet metal.
That's a good thing about XJs is they're Legos.
Yeah, well, yeah, I so welded back in, and then once that happened, the interior work kind of stopped. So now it just needs to go to the fabricator to get the cage and not the long arm kit in. Maybe once I see, I keep telling myself that once I get the 951 back, then I can send the Jeep out. I can't do both at the same time and survive. I don't think I'll survive. So
that's two iconic 80s 90s cars down at the same time. You can't really juggle both of them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm living Radwood right now. So
yeah, you basically are. I mean, that's like the friggin'.
But I'm living Radwood with nothing to take there. So
exactly. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. I just want to talk about some of the stuff I've driven real quick, and I want you to see because there's been some good cars that have come through my neck of the woods recently, and I'm going to share my screen because it appears to have resolved itself. So the first one, M5 Touring 2025. The possibly most controversial BMW of late, which is kind of saying a lot because a lot of them have been. So twin turbo V8 hybrid and all-wheel drive. It weighs as much as my Lexus GX, and that's concerning for a lot of reasons and people. But
why is it controversial?
Because it's so heavy is really the crux of it. It's it's 5,000 plus pounds fueled up, and it kind of ditches that whole BMW like core driving psyche by adding in as much tech as it can possibly chuck onto a platform. And I think that's why you should probably think of it as its own entity and not as like what the M5 was 20 years ago. Like when Ice Road Truckers came out the first year, the M5, the E39 was like, it was sports sedan, stick shift.
Dude, I nerd out on 200,000 mile M5s. Like, I constantly, would this be a good idea, bad idea? I can't tell.
Terrible, but also the best. Yeah, and I mean, they're very expensive to maintain, but they're going to be nothing to maintain compared to what this new one will be to maintain in 20 years. And I mean, this one was like loaded all the way up to the sky, and I think it was 140, which is a big number. But if it's your only car or your daily, and you got a nice like lightweight thing to play with on the weekends, like, then the hate that this gets is not deserved if you look at it kind of in a like its own entity vacuum. Like, it hauls everything you can want it to haul. It's fast as shit, like kind of terrifyingly fast, and it's it's comfortable, and it does everything you need it to do. It's just not like the stripped out sports sedan feel that people want an M5 to be associated with, and that's what the M3 is now. So
E39 weighed 3737.
Okay, so that's a little bit lighter than today's M3 or the Blackwings, which, I mean, 3,700 pounds back then was probably really heavy, and now it's really light.
It just sounds light, doesn't it? Now, so are you getting like Rivian vibes from this thing, like super heavy but super fast?
No, it still is very much like this is a V8 experience. Like, it shifts like a single clutch Lamborghini and knocks you back in your seat, and it doesn't joke around and try to fool you that it's a hybrid for efficiency's sake. Like, it's a hybrid so it can fill the torque with electric and just fucking fly. It is so fast and so like seamless in how quick you get places. But yeah, I don't know. Good car. Not what a lot of people want it to be, but I think it's a good car, and I had a really good time with it. So that's one. And two, I had the Wagoneer Overland. I took it on a family vacation road trip. And yeah, this is something that you guys would probably have a grand old time with up north, because it's got, like pseudo off-road stuff. It's got ATs and like a little bit of a lift and skid plates.
Yeah, what do you get with the Overland package?
Oh, a whole bunch of I don't want to say nonsense, because it's not. It's hardware. It's like I think it has a lower transfer case range, and it's got actual like armor and whatnot. But it's a 215-inch long SUV. Like, it's not a wheeling buddy. So it's kind of, the stuff is there for the sake of it being there, not really for practical use as much as the people at Stellantis want it to be.
Would you advise on one of these for our chase vehicles on the show?
Given your recent experience with it, would it be a good choice?
Yeah, I think it would work well. It would okay. mesh. It would mesh well. I think you'd be equally suited with like a Z71 Tahoe kind of deal, which probably operates a little more seamlessly. But I mean, this thing's got all the power you could possibly want. It's got the new Hurricane engine, the i6 turboed, and it's huge. It's friggin' huge. Like, I have a Tahoe RST on loan this week, and the Wagoneer's cargo hold, like the way the rear tailgate opens, it feels like a physically bigger opening. So, good car. Also good car. I wrote for pickuptrucktalk.com about it, and I have my qualms, but overall the Wagoneer Overland is good. It's less fun than the first Wagoneer that came out that had the 6.4 Hemi, because that was just a grand old time for the sake of making noise and whatnot. But this is by the books better.
How much does it cost?
So this one was $80, which the first Wagoneer I had, honestly, when I think about the best stereo I've ever heard in my life, I still go back to the Macintosh in that first run of Wagoneers. It was like, whoa. It was unbelievable. And that one was like $110 or something. So they've been steadily decreasing the price because they couldn't sell them, and they realized they were priced way above everything else. So this one was $80 or $82, something like that, which is square in Expedition Tremor and Tahoe Z71 territory, or Sequoia TRD Pro, like that kind of deal. They're all fucking expensive, is the crux of it. And
what does a Gen 1 go for now?
Couldn't tell you. I would expect they've depreciated terribly.
Like a Sova on fire?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Jeeps don't tend to hold value all that well unless they're stamped with the Wrangler 392 badge. So I don't know. I don't know what the early ones are, but it's. Do you really want to own an early one for that long? It's a Stellantis product. Sure. So, all right. So I drove that. I got two more, and then we're gonna call the game. That's the M5. We already talked about that guy. 4Runner TRD Pro. So, I had a 5th gen 4Runner, I had two 4th gen 4Runners, and I have a Lexus GX 460 that I'll be inside 4 years of owning when this podcast comes out. And, the GX is basically a 4Runner Land Cruiser Prado platform. So I'm a little, interested and care more about 4Runners being good than the average person. So the big caveat with this 4Runner with the new 6th gen TRD Pro is that the one that I had on loan, which had, an ARB roof rack and shit like that, it was $73,000 for a 4Runner. And I bought my 2018 TRD Off-Road Premium in 2018 for $36,000. So it's enormously expensive, and even though it is statistically more spacious than the 5th gen, it feels more cramped, and it's wide as hell. Like, this one's 4 inches wider than a non-pro, but for the first time ever since the V8 4Runner, it actually moves pretty good, and I have no doubt that it'll do things on a trail that no 4Runner before will ever have been able to do. I unfortunately did not get to test it off-road due to, family obligations, which is the way things go. You plan all these things and then shit goes out the window. But
is it drivable on a daily, or is it going to be like driving a Raptor around?
No. It's way better than a Wrangler. It's better than a Bronco daily. I don't love the way the hybrid... So it's a turbo 4-cylinder, then with a hybrid bearing. I don't love the way they interact. It kicks the engine on once you get a certain amount of load after using just electric at the bottom, and it sometimes doesn't do what it did the time before, just based on whatever algorithm is happening behind it. But yeah, no, it's very drivable, extremely easy to mesh with, and you could buy one of these and chuck some rock sliders on it and pretty much do 85 or 90% of the trails that you would ever want to do without further modifications. So, too expensive, but a huge improvement over the 5th gen, even though I personally would still rather have a 5th gen with a supercharger for $40,000. instead of 70 for this.
70's not nothing.
70's a bunch of money. That is a whole bunch of money. Last but not least, speaking of a whole bunch of money, the Land Rover Defender Octa, which the one I have was a first edition, and it was $170,000. Basically an M5 engine and Defender body around it. It's wider. It's got crazy suspension, and it's got the Raptor lights up front, and you park it and you look at it, and it's the trope of tropes, but it really does look like something a Bond villain would drive, and I fucking love this thing. It was so good.
Okay, I don't know what an Octa is. What is an Octa?
So Octa is their new trim model package, whatever you want to call it, that is basically designed to go. It's if you took like a Raptor theory and applied it to a Defender. So it's got amazing high-speed damping, basically, and it can do stuff better on the rocks than a non-Octa, but like it can ford 40 inches of water, and it's got obviously huge tow hooks, and it's a twin turbo V8, which makes I think like 100 and something more horsepower than the supercharged 5-liter that you get in the normal Defender V8. And it's a psycho death machine, like if you do Octa mode, it like stiffens the suspension up, but it still rolls in corners like crazy. And with 600 something horsepower, that much body roll in the corners it's so silly and so needless, and it's so
fun.
So great. Like if you can get these for the next season, then goddamn, you can't do better than that.
So how much does it cost?
This one's $170, the one I had.
Okay.
Big number. And it was, I think, by far the least fuel-efficient vehicle I've driven this year.
So what else are you getting for $170 that would be a comp?
Cayenne Turbo. You could get all sorts of G-Wagon if you wanted, if you want the, rectangular shape. You could get a 392 Wrangler and still have 80 grand to play with. 170 is a lot. You could do X5M and still have money. You could do like RSQ7. It's a shit ton of money.
Who are these for? I mean, it's awesome.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many of these things they're going to sell. I
see a lot of badass cars in Venice where I live, and I look forward to seeing one of these things.
Yeah, if you can get your hands on one even for a couple days, it's a grand old time, the Octa, and I don't think I'll ever see another one on the road around here, unless it's like at a Land Rover dealer. But goddamn, these things are. Anybody who gets one is really in for a treat. It's like it's an M5 SUV, which you could say that about the X5M, but the X5M rides worse than an M5, and the Octa rides like an SUV should ride. Like it's plush and comfortable, and is quiet when you don't have the exhaust on, and it's just, God, what a stupid thing, and I love it. So that's that.
It looks good.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Yeah, God, I missed that thing already. It left yesterday, and I miss it. So that's what's been happening around here. I have updates on the Lexus GX of my own coming in the next show. But if you want updates on Patrick's 951 or XJ, check in 3 years. And
true, but it hurts.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but
I deserve it.
Yeah, that's how projects go. So yeah. So what do you? We talked about Ice Road Truckers. What else? Anything else you want to plug?
No. That's just about it. We would love people to check out Ice Road Truckers. It's, I think, for people that are familiar with the old version or watch it with their parents or whatever, they're going to find a familiarity to it. But for people who just want some some badass, car-y, epic visuals, action adventure type stuff, like we're here for that too. So we really try to update it in that way. It's been a while since you and I chatted. Some of the other things that I've done, if anybody is curious and wants to check that stuff out, there's Renovations on Disney and Drive with Swizz Beatz on Hulu, both very, very car-y shows.
And well-received shows, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, we have big premieres, big views, and they're still there on the platforms, even though both companies have cleaned house a little bit and removed some stuff from the platform. So they're still there to view. They're great shows. Super proud of both of them. We, went to some incredible places in both, and did some crazy stuff. I mean, we were, drifting in Japan, hitting the dunes in Saudi, Renovations. We were in Rajasthan, India. We were all over the place. We hit slab culture with Swizz in Houston, which was something I had never physically experienced, which was just so incredible. So they're both great shows. If people are digging around and want some non-YouTube car content and they haven't hit either of those, it would be worth checking out. Otherwise, definitely tune in, for Ice Roads, a bunch of hardcore people put together a great series of television, and had to live through all those conditions that are super real to bring that thing to life. So we're happy with it. On the socials, I'm James Patrick Costello on Instagram. So that's it. That's all the only thing I got.
Cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for letting me pump the show relentlessly. Really appreciate it. A pleasure as always. And I hope to be back with at least one finished project.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, this is technically Glucker's show, so I'm going to throw him under the bus a little bit. Maybe next time you come to join us, one of his projects will be done.
Yes, maybe we can have a project. We can have a project completion celebratory pod.
Well, I don't have any projects, so everything's relative. But Patrick, thank you. Very, very much appreciate it. And we will chat next time. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye-bye.
See ya.